Hey, this is the C&D channel. I'm Chris, and this is my guest, Tony. Here we're going to be doing our UFC 132 post-fight analysis. But before we get into that, I'd like to thank my sponsors, GoBusiness123.com and DeMarcus Sunglasses Boutique in Laguna Beach. Okay, what are some overall thoughts you have for this card, Tony?
Amazing. I thought it was an amazing card. It was fun. A lot of knockouts, a lot of first-round knockouts.
Oh, first-round finishes, man.
What are your thoughts, Chris?
Tito! Woo! Okay, I actually picked Bader to win this one.
Like everybody did!
Yeah. But, no, Tito just, amazed. I picked Bader to win, but I'm cheering for Tito, it was really cool. I picked Cruz to win this. It was a really good fight. That should easily be fun tonight. Knockout of the night can go to, like, 3 or 4 different. Yeah, Condit could get it. Levin could get it. Dos Anjos can even get it. It was a great card, top to bottom, man. Yeah, so let's go start with the prelims and go on to the main card as Jeff Hoagland beat Donnie Walker by unanimous decision. The fight was really good. It was back and forth. A lot of guillotine attempts from
That's
Jeff
some
Hoagland.
mission trade.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them came from Hoagland. Like, he went for the arm bar where he got slammed on his head. He tried, like, triangles and whatnot. He was even out striking him. I liked his use of a jab, except when Hoagland would jab, his mouth would be, like, wide open for some weird reason.
Yeah.
So, good win from Hoagland. It was a fun fight. I expect Donnie Walker to get called back to the UFC.
My only question is why they showed this at the end of the pay-per-view. I mean, of all the fights that they had on the undercard, why of all things that they showed this again?
My guess is going to be that Njokuani versus Winner was on the Spike telecast. So was the same thing with Melvin and same thing with the Soteropoulos fight. And the Simpson fight wasn't very fun. The Bulls fight wasn't very fun. So this one by default, I'm guessing is probably why they.
I guess maybe all the rights are tied up with all those other fights. Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. So next fight of the night, we had Anthony Njokuani beating Andre Winner by unanimous decision. Man, this fight was a Muay Thai clinic by Njokuani. He's showing to be one of the most diverse strikers in the lightweight division, and he's huge, long, and lengthy. He's also tried a couple takedowns in this fight, which is really good for him. I want to see him mix up his game more because he has lost to guys like Shane Roller, and he's lost by Ben Henderson by submission. So it's nice to see him round out his game a little more. Winner is like 2 losses in a row now or something. He might get cut even though he's English. The UFC like to keep those English guys for some reason.
Well, you always have to have a hometown boy when they go overseas.
You know what? They actually don't have a card in the UK for this year. So something's going on with that. Next fight after that, Aaron Simpson beat rising prospect Brad Tavares by unanimous decision. A lot of clinching in this fight. Good takedown defense by Brad Tavares. He's really impressive in this fight. He needed to pummel away more and just get away from the cage a lot from Simpson. Good win from Simpson. I think he's in mid-tier purgatory, to be perfectly honest. He's lost to guys like Munoz and Chris Leben. Brad Tavares is actually a prospect that I would actually watch out for in the middleweight division. Next fight after that, former WEC bantamweight champion Brian Bowles beat Takeya Mizugaki by unanimous decision. It's kind of a slow fight, to be perfectly honest. I like Bowles. He's really solid, and he looks to finish, which is really good. There's one point in the fight in the first round where he grabbed, first or second round where he grabbed Mizugaki's kick, punched him, almost finished him in the back by rear naked choke. Broke his hand again. He broke his hand against Cruz, and he breaks his hand in the gym all the time. Not good for Bowles. I don't know what it is, but he keeps breaking his hand. He beat Demarcio Page. Bowles did. He's beating guys like Miguel Torres, but it's really hard to say where he goes. He got pretty outclassed by Cruz. It's not like the Faber fight where, the main event where I want to see Brian Bowles fight Cruz anytime soon. It's really tough to say where he goes from here. He's got to fight more top guys. Demetrius Johnson, Brian Bowles makes a lot of sense at this point to me. Okay, and on the Spike Freeland card, Rafael Dos Anjos beat George Sotiropoulos by knockout in the first round. In my predictions, me and Dave, we called Sotiropoulos. One thing we did say is I didn't really feel he had any real advantage. I did feel that Dos Anjos always had better standout. Really showed that in the Emerson fight. And the ground game, they kind of neutralize each other. And Sotiropoulos has really, not good wrestling. So, Dos Anjos, he pretty much got, this looping haymaker right hand that knocked him out. Which is 2 losses in a row now for Sotiropoulos, who was once a title contender.
Yeah.
But now that we're talking about a title contender, next fight of the night, Melvin Guillard beat Shane Roller by knockout. What are your thoughts on the young assassin, Melvin Guillard?
Good Lord, Melvin Guillard, from pretty much obscurity to just knocking out, Evan Dunham and now Shane Roller. I mean, you gotta imagine if something happens to Jim Miller where he doesn't win his fight, you gotta imagine Melvin Guillard's gonna be in the title mix. I mean, aside from maybe a Clay Guida, which I can't imagine them picking anybody else for a title shot after Maynard and
Maynard
Edgar 3.
Yeah. One thing about Guillard, he is in that mix. Jim Miller's in that mix. He's in the top.
Yeah.
And then Guida and Guillard are kind of in the same trajectory right now.
Yeah.
They both train together. I can't imagine them fighting each other. One thing about Guida is that as good as he has looked, I do have to say he has lost against guys like Diego, Kenny Florian, Tyson Griffin. There's just something about me that always thinks he'll beat the mid-tier guys, but he can't always beat some top 10 guys.
Well, I think when you're a Clay Guida kind of guy, the most you can ever hope for is maybe a title shot. I can never see him actually win the lightweight title.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to imagine that his brass ring has got to be a main event pay-per-view title shot.
Yeah, of course. He's looking good, but Guillard, I think, is just making more of a case, especially.
Yeah, that's a real, that's a real threat to freaking anyone in the lightweight division.
Yeah, when you're knocking guys out cold, and then the other thing that Melvin is really impressive with, he fought guys like Fabricio Camoes, Gleason Tebow, who are grapplers. And Melvin Guillard used to have a big weakness in grappling. He lost to Joe Stevenson, Nate Diaz, all by some form of guillotine / anaconda or Bravo choke. Melvin's not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
He's fought a lot of really strong jiu-jitsu guys. His takedown defense looks really good. He's good at getting back to his feet, especially by butt scooting and cage walking now. And his hands, man, oh god, dude, his hands are
you have to imagine if he goes in there with the elite grappler and he's down 4 rounds, you still got to put Melvin in the. He's still got a chance. He's got that one. He's got that one punch knockout power to completely change the game and freaking win the fight for himself.
One thing about Guillard too is he's a huge lightweight.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Didn't he used to fight at welterweight?
Yeah, I believe that his season of The Ultimate Fighter was with Marcus Davis and stuff, where they were fighting in welterweight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. He looked really good. I mean, just stylistically, one thing I really like about Guillard is he stays outside the pocket with his hands down, which I don't like too much. Roller did manage to tag him, but he closes distance so fast, and that's the style he has. He'll stand back. You saw it in the Jamie Stevens fight. Go in and just do this barrage. He's athletic and explosive.
It's like a barrage.
That's pretty much what he finished Roller with.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I do like about Guillard, he's really rounding out his game. He's really raw when he started out. He's really mature too.
Oh yeah.
You just
on a personal level, yeah, he's really mature.
You just reading interviews, even the post-fight thing, he just seems really mature now. Which honestly I think is just good for his mental game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's get on to the main card. Okay, the first fight of the night. And I called this. I'm so glad. Okay, the natural born killer, Carlos Condit beat Stun Gun Dong Hyun Kim by TKO in the first round.
By flying knee strike. What an amazing.
Flying knee strike followed by ground and pound.
Good Lord.
One thing I'm really glad that I thought this would happen. It did. Dong Hyun Kim had the superior takedowns.
Yeah.
Carlos Condit got taken down. What I said in my predictions was simply that Condit is a master of scrambling, and he's better on the stand-up, Well, guess what? He got taken down, scrambled back to his feet with an amazing sweep, and then got back to the feet, and Dong Hyun Kim just could not get off.
Yeah. Where do you see the future for Dong Hyun Kim, especially with he's so grappling oriented? He seems like he just has no standard whatsoever.
Well, one thing about him, I mean, he's actually TKO'd guys before. He just hasn't done it in the UFC. He's so insistent upon using the judo and the takedown game. I think he's still relatively young.
Yeah.
So I think that really helps him. And he's big. I mean, if that guy ever learns how to throw proper punches, he actually has. I've seen him throw a good left every once in a while, but he hasn't done it lately. He seems too focused, too one-dimensional in his approach now. Like against Amir Sadala, takedown, control. Nate Diaz, takedown, control. Tire out near the end of the second round.
Yeah.
Third round, he's just covering up. He's getting too one-dimensional in his approach, and he's definitely going to need to fix that up. Where do you see Carlos Condit as far as the welterweight title scheme, especially that Rick Story's out of the picture and Nate Marquardt's out of the picture? Diaz versus GSP is going to happen in October.
Yeah, and our Fitch and Penn still out with injuries.
They're out with injuries, and the only other relevant fight right now is going to be Jake Shields versus Jake Ellenberger. Now, unless Ellenberger beats Jake Shields, it looks to me like Condit. What do you think?
Yeah, and I have to imagine you go with Condit, but the only thing is, it's how would you build interest for that fight? Because it seems like almost every other GSP fight where it's a grappler versus a striker exchange, and you know that it's going to be very hard to knock someone like GSP out.
One thing is, the way the UFC is going to market the fight is going to constantly show the knockouts of Dong Hyun Kim and Dan Hardy and loop that reel.
I think they'll also mention the WEC welterweight champion.
Yeah. One thing I do like about Condit though is it's almost like it's technique versus GSP's technique. Carlos Condit is chaos. I mean, hell, he won with a flying knee and ground and pound.
That was amazing.
I mean, it's you know what I mean? Like, if say Dong Hyun Kim won, I would have no faith in Dong Hyun Kim beating GSP in any way.
Yes.
At least this time, it's kind of like, oh, Condit, you know, he might be able to do something to GSP standing because he's just so freaking wild.
Yeah.
You know?
He's got that puncher's chance.
Yeah, you just kind of get that idea of like, dude, he's just going to go for it. He's not going to get tired. He's going to scramble. Hey, GSP takes down Condit. Maybe Condit can scramble. Yeah. You never know. I mean, it's just at least... here's the thing. I think GSP would just win the decision against Condit.
Okay, here's an interesting point, Chris.
Okay.
What if something happens in the GSP Nick Diaz fight and Nick Diaz happens to win the UFC welterweight?
I'd still give it to Condit. Condit versus Diaz would be awesome. Diaz is still really marketable, honestly.
But I'm saying as far as a stand-up affair, who would you give the difference to? Nick Diaz boxing versus Carlos Condit's striking?
Muay Thai, yeah. I would. Here's the thing. As good as Nick Diaz did beat Paul Daly, but one thing about Diaz is that he's not defensively sound. He did get dropped twice by Daly. He got hit, kicked multiple times by Evangelista Santos, who honestly is like a mid-tier fighter. And Condit doesn't have the best defense. I think he has better defense than him. And I think both these guys have awesome chins too.
And on the ground, who would you give it to?
They're both like brown/black belts, great scrambling ability. I would honestly think they'd do insane scrambles, similar to Diaz versus Diego or something to that nature. I think Condit definitely has more tools. He uses more knees, kicks, and punches, whereas Diaz is strictly boxing.
Boxing and jiu-jitsu, yeah.
And jiu-jitsu, yeah. Condit has really good conditioning, and with guys like Santos and Daly, they don't. So I can see Condit take a beating and still be strong. So I don't know if I'd give the advantage to Condit per se. I think he might be able to obviously Diaz does a lot of volume,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Condit's gonna get a knee or a punch in there, but take like 5 to give one hard one, and that's usually how a Diaz fight works.
Yeah.
Actually. So yeah, it's tough to say. I don't really know who's better. I think that Diaz has shown against other strikers. I think he's beat more better strikers for the division.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, what's Carlos Condit's like best striker? Like Dan Hardy. You know what I mean? That's the best striker he's been beaten. Whereas obviously Diaz beat like Zorovskis, Santos, Daly, and other guys. And Daly's,
World class, yeah.
So great win from Condit. Honestly, wouldn't surprise me if he is freaking #1 contender right now. Honestly, just because of how the welterweight division kind of went down after UFC on Versus.
Yeah.
With Marquardt being gone, and then
Story coming off the loss.
And Story coming off the loss.
Would you maybe try to rehab Story with a fight with Carlos Condit?
I don't like fighters coming off a loss to fight a guy who's coming off a win, especially when someone's so high up the ladder right now. So no, I would not do that at this time. And stylistically, actually, I would give it to Condit for scrambling. Similar, like Condit has a better standout. And then Story could take it down, but the only problem is I think Condit would just get back to his feet and light him up on the feet, personally. Yeah. So,
in many ways, the main event of tonight.
Well, the next fight after that, Huntington Beach bad boy Tito Ortiz beat Ryan Darth Bader by a guillotine choke in the first round. My whole house was going nuts. I actually lost my voice. I'm actually not talking that great because of Tito winning. One thing I want to say is that I don't hate Bader, but I don't really care for him. But I do care for Tito. I do like the guy, and so I wanted to cheer for him. So when he won, I was just like, "Oh my god!" And the way he did, submission of the night.
Yeah, you brought up an interesting point when Tito was making his way to the cage. That Tito was one of the very first people that understood the game of maybe selling yourself. Like maybe not necessarily you're gonna make a ton of fans, but if you get a lot of people to hate you, you'll get them to want to watch your fight.
It's well. One thing we know this: Tito Ortiz is a pro wrestling fan.
Yeah,
we know this. We're both pro wrestling guys ourselves. Tito even did like refereeing for a TNA show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He knows the game. He has the personality for that game too, to play the heel. But yeah, so I mean, the thing with Tito, I mean, you said it too. Tito can now lose his next 2 fights.
Yeah, I think he's bought himself he's bought himself 3 or 4 big losses.
Yeah. Speaking of big losses, man, with Bader, 2 losses in a row. I mean, yeah, it's to John Jones, but now to a guy that many
Tito Ortiz in 2011.
Yeah. He just got sent back to like. He's like where Matt Hamill is right now, mid-tier, what I call mid-tier purgatory.
Like that's maybe the next fight they set up now.
Yeah,
Ryan Bader.
That'd be a good fight.
He's a really good fight.
Yeah, that's a really good fight. I don't know what was Bader's problem. If he didn't just go for the takedown early enough or something.
I figure if you're Ryan Bader, you figure Tito's going to want to go grappling. He's going to want to try to take him down. Regardless of how maybe the Hamill fight is on, I just feel like that would have been Tito's bread and butter, and I felt like Tito prepared for that by really practicing his stand-up.
Yeah, the thing with Tito, though, he still seemed a little flat. I mean, he's 36.
Yeah, he seemed very slow, very stiff.
It seemed really stiff. It just, Bader, as much as he does have highlight reel stuff, he's still kind of stiff himself.
Yeah.
Wrestling back. These are Russell boxers, Good guillotine. I've seen Tito Ortiz grapple before, and he actually has legit grappling chops. I mean, he honestly...
He nearly tapped out Lyoto Machida.
Yeah, exactly. He nearly tapped out Lyoto Machida. And the fact that he can stay on top and hit so hard during his prime, he was in guys' guard. And they put his foot on his hips to try and kick off, maybe put a knee, and Tito would light him up from guard. He has a good jiu-jitsu awareness of where guys are, And it showed he dropped him, got some ground and pound. Bader scrambled with the awareness. I mean, Tito, and he sunk in that guillotine choke. It was open. He has good submission awareness, actually. He never gets to show it these days. That's the thing. And also, he's so used to just ground and pounding guys, too. Great win for Tito. I love the guy. You know, I don't know how else to say it. You know, a lot of guys hate the guy. Yeah, he does have a mouth, but you know, being from pro wrestling fan first before MMA,
he knows the fight game.
Yeah, you kind of get this idea of like, okay, he's kind of playing it up, and he doesn't go into like, I know you love Chael Sonnen, but he doesn't go into that territory where it's like downright racist sometimes. You know, he just barely gets on that line. That's the thing. So good win for Tito. Bader, I think he should fight someone probably in the lower tier now, like an Igor Pekrayak, Anthony Parash. You know.
Well, this is a better question. What do you do with Tito? Do you try to protect him, or do you try to just throw him in there with the elite?
Okay, one thing which we didn't see, but I'm gonna bet you, his paycheck was probably 6 figures. Okay, do you really put a guy into 6 figures in the prelims?
No, I'm not saying the prelims. I'm just saying, what do you give him?
Okay, but do you also give him a scrub? You know, don't you want to use Tito's name value to get? Okay, for example, Alexander Gustafsson is going to fight Vladimir Matyushenko. Mm-hmm. Okay, say Gustafsson wins. He's a prospect. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you want to maybe market Gustafsson against Tito? You know, because at least Tito has value.
Yeah.
You know, because with Bader, the idea of Bader was like, okay, he's still a prospect. Mm-hmm. Let's use Tito as that name guy, so he has that name win.
Yeah.
You know, they did it with Dos Santos and Krokop, or Krokop versus anyone, really, these days. Tito still has that value of, like, okay, if he fights this up-and-comer, the up-and-comer can now get a name. But you definitely have to get him kind of high up there. Like, that's why I use Gustafsson, because he's only lost to Phil Davis. You know? And light heavyweight at this time, I can't really think of too many other guys. Even Rich Franklin, maybe, or something like that.
Well, I think a really good fight, and especially if they're looking to build title contenders, which I guess the division's really good on title contender, but I guess you could. There's always money in a rematch with the Odo.
I think there's actually more money in the rubber match with Forrest, because they're 1-1.
You think so?
There's a lot 1-1, because actually after Forrest beat Tito, they were actually, you know, going to do Ultimate Fighter, and then a lot of people wanted to do Forrest versus Tito. It made a lot of sense. I also think the thing with Forrest is, one thing about Forrest, I hate to say it, he's kind of like used goods in a way, where it's kind of like, I don't think really anyone really believes that he'll beat like John Jones or anything like that, you know?
Oh, no.
And that's why I think it's a little safe, because you're not, you know, you're not really interfering with the champ, you know, the contender mix in that way. You know, you're not interfering with it with, like, you know, fighting Tito. You know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Who would you want Tito losing to? If you think this was kind of a fluke win, where would you want him losing to? Would you want him losing to an elite guy, so you can still try to maybe pawn him off for lower card fights, or would you just try to maybe him lose his next fight to an up-and-comer, to a prospect?
Good question. Honestly,
I mean,
yeah.
God bless Tito, and you know, more power to him for winning tonight. But you gotta imagine, you know, his next fight, he's still gonna be the underdog.
Yeah. Well, there's the thing with the reason why I wouldn't want to do Lyoto is because he already beat him, and besides that triangle choke, I mean, he kind of beat him soundly.
Yeah.
Other guys that are up there, Rampage. Okay, he's gonna fight Jones already. You can maybe rematch Rashad Evans. I guess. I think maybe the loser of Evans versus Davis. Davis would be a good fight for Ortiz.
That doesn't seem like an interesting fight, because especially, like I said, Tito's going to be the underdog, and we know what kind of fighter Davis is. It's just going to be a grappling affair.
Yeah. I think at this point, Probably someone like Rich Franklin. Maybe if you want to go lower, Stephen Bonner. I don't like that fight very much.
I think a Rich Franklin fight would actually be pretty good.
Rich Franklin, and for me personally, a third fight against Forrest Griffin would be good. Another one, Tito was originally supposed to fight at a fight night a while back, Antonio Rogério Nogueira, which wouldn't be too bad also. I think you want to do those guys that are fringe contenders. Franklin, Nogueira, Forrest, all kind of those fringe guys.
A Franklin one seems like a good pay-per-view main event.
Yeah.
It seems like a fresh matchup, and both guys have a good chance of winning.
Yeah. So, next fight after that, Dennis Siver beat Matt Wyman by a unanimous decision, 29-28 all around. You had Matt Wyman winning. I actually did have Dennis Siver winning rounds 1 and 3. You had Matt Wyman winning.
It's 2 and 3.
2 and 3. We were talking about this before. What was it in round 3 that you saw that you thought Wyman had him? Because I didn't really see it.
Well, just over like I said, on a sort of rational basis, I can't explain it, but on a sort of like the way I've been conditioned as a UFC fan and the judges, that those takedowns are really important. I agree with you. In a perfect world, I would have given it to Siver. But the way I've been conditioned as a UFC fan, and you know how important takedowns are in the judges' eyes, I really have this fight going towards.
But here's the thing, though. Wyman did get one takedown. Siver got back to his feet in the 3rd round.
Yeah, but aside from that, what else happened? I mean, Siver didn't really. I don't think he didn't put on an exhibition like he did in the 1st round.
No, of course not. But the other
I just say if you take that takedown out of the equation.
Well, actually,
I don't see how you can give the round to either.
Siver got that top position in the last 20 seconds or so, and was hitting him a lot.
But yeah, I have to imagine if you're a judge, at last 20 seconds, if nothing really happens, you already have your mind made up.
Maybe.
Like I said, in a perfect world, I would give it to Dennis Siver, but with the way UFC goes and the way judging goes, I was surprised that they gave it to Siver.
Well, one thing is though, but the way I always saw judging is that the last minute is actually valued a lot more, and whoever finishes stronger, looks better. Siver actually, like I said, that's why I said that last 20 seconds or so when Wyman kind of got leg kicked and his legs got clipped under him. Siver was on top, landing strikes. He was at the end of the fight that round. He looked strong. He looked strongest. That was the thing. I did feel that Siver was also winning on the feet against Wyman during that round. He stuffed takedowns, but the other thing that, besides stuffing takedowns, is that he was attacking him as he was stuffing takedowns. Yeah. That was the thing. That's why I personally gave it to Siver.
Now the crowd was not too happy about Siver.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against giving it to Wyman or anything. Don't get me wrong here.
This is hardly a triumphant victory for him. If anything, this was a victory, but it was still, I felt like, sort of a step backwards for both guys. Yeah.
Siver's. Well, here's the funny thing now. Siver's on, ever since losing to Ross Pearson, he's beaten Spencer Fisher and I think maybe another guy after Andre Winner, George Soteropoulos, and now Matt Wyman. He's actually on a 4-5 win streak. Where is he in this division? Is he a mid-tier guy, a fringe contender? What is he?
You have to imagine that if the UFC doesn't really have plans for Melvin Gillard, do you think Dennis Siver Melvin Gillard fight would be a good fight?
Melvin beat Siver pretty bad, but Siver really sucked. He's really improved since then. I think it's a good fight. I think it just makes sense. I think it really makes sense at this stage. I wouldn't want to.
You want to risk losing a contender in Melvin?
No. In a perfect world, I would do Melvin versus Guida, but this is the next step. I wouldn't do anyone else with Jim Miller because I think Jim Miller, if he beats Bendo, then Jim Miller should get the.
But in the event that Miller loses, would you give the title shot to Gillard?
Yeah. I'd probably do that. I think Melvin has shown to be more dangerous than Clay Guida, personally.
Yeah.
With Siver, I mean, he's not on that level, but he's like one notch below now.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Maybe a Dennis Seaver Clay Guida fight.
Hey, that'd be good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that, actually. Yeah. Next, right after that, the co-main event had Chris the Crippler Leben beating the Axemander Vanderlei Silva by knockout in the first round in 27 seconds. We kept talking about this, but I'll reiterate. Okay, Vanderlei did actually get like a good left hand on Leben.
Yeah.
Leben got a good looping left that staggered Silva. Silva made the mistake. He got his bearings for like half a second and then went for this tie clinch, but left a lot of space between them for the uppercuts. Vanderlei, honestly, after getting that wobbled, he should have stepped back.
Yeah.
This also says a lot about Vanderlei's chin too.
Yeah.
What do you take from this fight, and where do these guys go from here?
You just feel free to go away, because honest to God, I can't think of where this leaves Vanderlei. The only fight I can maybe possibly see him, the only fight that has any interest with Vanderlei is maybe a rematch with Vitor.
He wants a rematch with Vitor. He's been calling out Vitor for a long time now.
But I think, especially at this point with this win with Leben, I think Leben Vitor fight would be way more marketable and way more exciting. Way more. It could go either way.
Vitor's gonna fight Akiyama, and then Vitor Leben. That's a really good one actually. I do like that. Silva right now, honestly, is a name. If you want to give someone like a Brian Stan like a name, then give him Vanderlei. Maybe if you want to be like, okay, we can't think of the next contender.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we like Stan. Hey, Vanderlei is good. You know, he's still a name. People recognize him.
But if you're Vanderlei, I feel like there's a lot of other guys that Vanderlei should have fought, but I think Vanderlei has so much what's the word I'm looking for? He has so much political capital that he can get whatever fight he wants, and I just don't see. I don't see a fight with Brian Stan being a back and forth affair. I think even Vanderlei. I think even Vanderlei knows that his best days are behind him, and all he's worried about right now is having good fights. And I just think a fight with Stan would really build up Stan really well, but I just really feel like
he wouldn't take it.
He wouldn't take it because it wouldn't be a good fight.
Okay. Who do you give him, like Alan Belcher then, or something like that?
Yeah, maybe someone like that.
Okay.
I don't see anyone else who we could really have a good stand-up war with.
Yeah, I mean, Chael's out for a long time. He trains with Vanderlei trains with Damian Maia. Munoz is coming off a win, but I don't like that matchup very much. Vitor would be pretty ideal. Maybe if Akiyama loses, because Vanderlei was actually supposed to fight Akiyama.
Yeah, no, what was it, 116?
Yeah, something like that. So, yeah. With Leben's in a weird place, though. I mean, he's lost against guys like Michael Bisping, Brian Stan. I mean, he's always in like mid-tier purgatory, kind of in mid-tier purgatory, and then he gets like on a streak or something.
Yeah, I think your other friend Tony noticed that Leben's walkout music is "Your Love Is Like a Roller Coaster," and that's very, very apropos or figurative of his career. He'll get on this big winning streak and then just fall off, and it's like I said, he's always going to have a place in the UFC, but it's like, is he ever going to be a title contender? Is he ever going to be, one of those elite guys? Probably not.
Oh no, he doesn't have the skill to be that guy.
I just think a Vitor Leben fight would be so marketable, so exciting. I mean, you could get away with just that being a main event on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I like that fight a lot, actually. Okay, so to the main event of the night, Dominic Cruz beat Uriah Faber by unanimous decision to retain the UFC bantamweight title. Third fight between the two. What do you think? Rubber match?
I think at this point, they're gonna want. Like I said, I know Faber is so marketable, and I guess an eventual rubber match would be something they can market. But I think at this point, even Faber has somewhat of a backlash of people just thinking he's a pretty boy, so he gets whatever he wants. I think with Faber, he has to at least get one big win.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. Yeah, not immediate. Yeah. No. I didn't mean immediate. No. Okay. I didn't mean immediate.
So, like, I know the bantamweight title. I mean, I know the bantamweight division's shallow, but I don't think that's shallow for title contenders.
Yeah. Right now, one of the major title contenders is Mighty Mouse Demetrius Johnson, coming off a win over Miguel Torres. Otherwise, Brian Bowles, I don't really want to see that. Yeah, it's definitely, I think right now it's like Demetrius Johnson, really, is the only guy that I can, I can't really think of anyone right now.
No, and especially with okay, let's say you can sell a rematch. Do you honestly think the fight's going to be any different than it was tonight?
No. I think Cruz would cruise his way onto the decision victory once again. I like Faber. Do you think Faber really looked that much different than he's always looked in this fight? Kind of like the same to me.
Pretty much the same. It's like I thought Faber's only real chance to win was with grappling, and once Dominic Cruz showed that he was on par, if not better than Faber, that made for a short night for Faber.
Yeah.
Faber's only real chance was that big power shot, but I've never really known Faber to been that one strike kind of guy.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Totally agree with you on that. Dominic Cruz definitely did his normal game. He seemed to have I want to say gas, but definitely slowed down earlier than I've seen him slow down. This was a grueling fight, though.
Yeah,
obviously.
This is a friggin' back and forth affair. Mm-hmm. I had Cruz winning round was 2, 3, and 5.
Yeah, 2, 3, and 5.
And I had Faber winning rounds 1 and 4.
Yes.
So I scored this 48, 47.
Yeah.
I don't know what judge gave Cruz all 5 rounds, to be honest. I mean, I could understand maybe not giving him maybe round 4, but especially that round 1, I thought I don't see how you could not give it to Faber.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that, judges. I mean, the right guy won. I mean, I think Cruz should have won.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Where he goes from here, I think only Mighty Mouse is the only guy.
Yeah, I think another thing that was obvious tonight was, I think this is really the last time we're going to see the bantamweight title in a main event on pay-per-view in the UFC for quite a while.
Think it'll just be a co-main event?
Yeah, it'll be co-main event, or maybe even, like I said, I hate to say it, but maybe even TV main event.
TV would be interesting. That's actually a discussion for another day, as putting big fights on TV to get ratings. Mm-hmm. They haven't done that. Yeah. Besides with Rampage versus Henderson. That's the only time I can remember them doing that.
Yeah, because I don't see how even if Faber gets another title shot, I don't see how you could get enough people interested and maybe think Faber has a chance. Because I really think even if they have a rubber match, I don't see anyone
clamoring for it.
Yeah, anyone dropping down $50 for a main event, Faber versus Cruz 3.
So, but then the other question is, we talked about this before. This fight was mainly sold on Levin versus Vanderlei. Mm-hmm. Couldn't they just make a really good co-main event and still put the bantamweight title as a main event?
I guess, but even like you and I are really hardcore fans, but even it would be hard for me to justify sitting down and watching the rest of the show, especially when Dominic has almost no chance of losing to Uriah Faber. Even me, the hardcore fan, I don't see me wanting to stick around for another Dominic Cruz title defense.
Yeah, I hear you. That makes sense.
But Dominic Cruz in a co-main event or in a TV, I think that makes any ordinary pay-per-view or title pay-per-view that much bigger.
Yeah, of course. Putting the bantamweight title on TV would be actually really, really interesting, as it's still a division. I mean, Brian Bowles is actually one of their top guys, and he was stuck on the Facebook prelims. Now, what better way to put the bantamweight title to make it known and division known, but putting it on free TV?
Yeah, I think that'd be a great way of building it up, or especially if they do a Cruz Faber 3, they can be coaches on tomorrow.
Well, what about this though? Because we're saying, I was thinking free TV for a second. Now I'm thinking Fight Night, Ultimate Fighter, or UFC Versus, but obviously they have numbered cards in like England and stuff that usually get some like, I remember one time it was like Joe Stevenson, Diego Sanchez putting a bantamweight title fight for one of those free numbered cards. I think
TV numbered cards. Yeah,
TV numbered. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, you can make a great case for that.
Yeah, cool. You got anything else to say about this?
Like I said, it seemed sort of a kind of downer night. Faber losing, Vanderlei getting knocked down 27 seconds. I think the only real high point of the night was Tito's win. Yeah,
well, just having so many finishes, that was pretty cool, and like exciting fights.
That was cool, and it was fun. It made the night, better than your average UFC. But I just feel like, especially with Faber losing and Vanderlei losing back to back, it felt like kind of a letdown.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's not something that UFC can control. I'm just saying, just me personally as a fan, it just feels kind of a downer.
Okay. Well, I picked Vanderlei to win, but I picked Cruz to win, so I didn't feel let down. And anyway, and it was such a good fight, anyways, that I was left very satisfied with the whole card, personally. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. For this, yeah. So if you have any comments or anything, please leave them below. And yeah, that's it for MMA for you. Thank you very much.